All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is just a video I thought I wanted to just share with you all because I haven't seen anybody talk about this or seen anything about it. But uh, me and my son were looking for metal gears for the DR10 for his DR10, and never could find any spur gears for the DR10. So we came across this one right here, as you see here, and it is the 2458 Element Enduro steel spur gear, and it is the hardened steel as well. So it is a 58 tooth gear and it's 32 pitch. So it's gonna make the spacing inside your gearbox a little bit different than what you're used to with the stock gear. So, but it will work. We've already installed it, and it's a little tricky. I mean, not too bad though. Uh, and you see here in the picture here. Um, so what I end up doing is I initially put this spur gear on just the way you would put the stock DR10 spur gear on. And the issue I came across was that the spur gear, because the pitch is bigger, uh, it came and hit the motor screws, the motor mounted screws. It actually rubbed up against it. So with that being said, I end up putting a spacer behind the slipper clutch plate, the back plate right there, and I did that, and that gave me that space I needed to push it away from the motor mount screw, as you can't see it here in the picture, but it's the one up under there. Uh, so it spaced, it gave me the amount of space I needed to clear that, so that was fine. Then the next problem we came into was the spring. So by us putting that spacer back there, the spring was pushed out further out, so we couldn't use the stock plastic spacer or the stock nut because we didn't have enough thread from that shaft to tighten the slipper clutch. So it's a few things you could do there, but what I end up doing, I had a nut from one of my hex extension kits. I used that nut, and I don't know the exact name for this nut here, and I'm just gonna call it a gooseneck nut. But if y'all know the exact name for it, y'all let me know what the exact name for this nut here. But I used it. I took a washer and I took this nut, and like I said, this nut it is small enough to fit in between the springs. So kind of gave me like a little cheat code, and I was able to use that to tighten the slipper clutch down. And with me doing all that, it works fine. Works perfect. Now the other way you could have did this, you could have found you a shorter spring, or you could have cut the spring if you wanted to. But I didn't want to do all that, man. I just want something just clean and didn't feel like fabricating anything. So found this nut and I used it and it worked. So another thing, you want to make sure you have a hardened steel pinion, because if you don't, you're gonna shred this pinion all together. And we did that today. But that's this is the only pinion I had in my parts bin. So we used it anyway because we want to make sure that just testing this spur, you want to make sure it stayed intact, out there. And before we got on here and telling you all, hey, this is another option. So we wanted to test it out, and so we did just to make sure it held up, and it did a great job. It held up, it stayed locked in. I did have the slipper a little bit too tight, but that was on my end. So, but yeah, it held up. So I would say if you're looking for a metal option, this Robinson Racing metal gear is the one to go. It's the Element Enduro. So you seen the part number here, uh, 2458. I think it's another one out there that I want to try. I think it's a 54 tooth gear, but I'll make another video on that one. But if it works, I have it. I just don't know if it works yet, but I'm pretty sure it does. Uh, but yeah, it works fine. So at the end of this little slide here, we're going to show the video of us testing it, and you'll hear the car going up and down, and you'll hear that slipper sounding a little bit too tight. But hey, that's part of the hobby, you adjust on the fly. So all right, guys, y'all be safe. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And then we'll see you all on the next one. Yeah.